What is up, everybody? Mr. McBonkers here with a Season 8 of Game of Thrones trailer breakdown. Well, it's here, guys, the final season of Game of Thrones, and HBO just dropped a trailer for it. And I'm a huge fan of the series, and I kinda wanted to talk about it, so here we go. So it opens with Arya looking absolutely terrified for some reason, which is very concerning considering that the last few seasons she has turned into a total badass, so what the heck is scaring her so much, right? Whatever it is, it must be hella scary. Cut to her running frantically through some hallways, of which I can only assume is Winterfell. We then hear a voiceover of hers in, honestly, a very cocky way saying, "I know death. He's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one." Yeah, that statement definitely seems to be cocky, especially Arya, since we just saw you running for your life. There's also a quick cut of Davos walking on a wall that looks to be perhaps the wall of Winterfell before a big battle. And another quick cut of what looks to be Varys hiding in the crypts of Winterfell with a bunch of civilians, probably once again during a big battle. Now what gets me here is the look in his eyes. He could just be listening to the sound of the battle, being very worried about what could happen. Or perhaps is he noticing that something strange is going on down in that crypt? I would also like to mention that it looks like she's holding a dragonglass dagger, so perhaps they are manufacturing these weapons with dragonglass, which we'll talk about again later. Next, we got a badass shot of Euron Greyjoy's fleet, or at least a couple ships. So this appears to be Euron arriving back from Essos with the Golden Company. We see a bunch of soldiers on the top deck of the ship, as well as what seems to be a Jaime Lannister doppelganger, but is probably just their leader. So let's talk a little bit more about the Golden Company. They are one of the most renowned sellsword companies of Essos. According to Cersei in Season 7, there are around 20,000 soldiers in the Golden Company. However, this contradicts what Davos says in Season 3 when he says there are 10,000. But really, I don't think it matters. What does matter is some history behind the Golden Company. The company was started by a group of supporters of House Blackfyre, which is a descendant house of House Targaryen. They tried to take the Iron Throne in the Blackfyre Rebellion, but totally failed, and after losing fled to Essos and formed their own mercenary group. To sum it all up, the Golden Company was started by a bunch of bastard sons of House Targaryen, who were exiled from Westeros. They have a reputation of never breaking a contract, which is pretty rare for sellswords. And this is where it gets interesting. Since they are made up of former Targaryen, I believe they will betray Cersei and instead will align themselves with Jon and Dany, since they themselves are Targaryens. The show has several times now told us, the viewers, that the Golden Company has not broken a contract. So wouldn't it be kind of like poetic for them to finally break one now? Next we see Tormund, Beric, and Ed walking into something. We have no idea what it is, but at least we know Tormund and Beric are alive, right? Next is a shot of Sam and Bran. Sam has a very worried look on his face. Perhaps he knows he's the one who has to tell Jon about all the incest he's been doing lately. Next we see Cersei and Qyburn, with Cersei having a very smug look on her face. Perhaps this is the scene where she welcomes the Golden Company into King's Landing, and she's happy about it. She has her army. We then go to a few short cuts of what appears to be Dany and Jon entering Winterfell. The image of this little boy watching the unsullied army walk into Winterfell reminds me a lot of when Bran watched Robert's company enter Winterfell in the first episode. Cut to a shot of Gendry walking by a blacksmith station, and what appears to be a big pile of dragonglass being worked on by the blacksmiths. I would like to point out in this little cut, it seems to be that Jorah has Heartsbane, the ancestral sword of House Tarly. It's a Valyrian steel sword that Sam stole from his father, although I don't think he'll be needing it anytime soon. We get a nice shot of Grey Worm kissing his new lady. Everything around him seems very chaotic, so hopefully this is not their last kiss goodbye. Fingers crossed. I'd like to talk about this shot next. Now, it only appears for like a millisecond, but it appears to be a figure fighting on a fence, perhaps fighting some whites. Now, you can not really tell who it is, but my guess is that it's probably Brienne. It could also be Jorah, but this more looks like Brienne to me. It's probably not Jaime because they're fighting with the sword in the right hand, and well, we all know why Jaime can't do that. Here we have a wide shot of the throne room, which seems to have Cersei, Qyburn, Euron, and I'm guessing the leader of the Golden Company. And of course, the mountain by Cersei's side. So this is probably just the first time that Cersei meets the Golden Company formally. So here's a shot of Cersei. She both looks sad and yet also happy. Perplexed, I would say, in this little cut, which is a little confusing because it makes me really want to know what's going on. But the most important thing is right here, she is drinking wine, and she's supposed to be pregnant, so what's up with that, Cersei? Fetal alcohol syndrome is a real thing, girl. Some more mandatory images of dragons flying around. This is Arya probably just looking at the dragons for the first time, blah blah blah. This is Grey Worm, looks like he's smelling a fart. Something that I noticed is that on the shield and on his right shoulder looks to be some sort of texture of some sort. I don't know what it is. I guess could be they're doing something to their shields and armor with dragon glass, but what evidence have we seen so far that dragon glass is a good defense against whites? We know it kills them if they get stabbed with it, but I wonder if they'll explain this further in the season. But yeah, they definitely do not look like the same as they did before. Before they looked like drum kit cymbals. Let's go ahead and cut to Jaime. Now there's a voiceover in this part saying that he intends to keep his promise to fight for the living. I have to stop and take a second to just say how much I admire the character of Jaime and the complete character development we've seen of him since Season 1, Episode 1. Episode 1, we all hated his guts and wanted him to die. Now he's one of the most beloved characters, so I completely applaud the character development, no matter what happens to him in this season. It's hard to tell where he is in this clip from the background, but the best guess, if you're a betting person, is just Winterfell. We get a shot of what probably a lot of people will geek out over, and that's a shot of Dany and Jon walking to Rhaegal and Drogon. And of course, we're all hoping Jon will just hop on Rhaegal, and the both of them will just kick ass. We get a shot of Arya going for some extra XP with style points. What I'd like to talk about here is, I know it's really dark, but in the background it looks like you can see 2 trebuchets, which I think would be pretty cool in the defense of Winterfell, like they did in the final battle of Lord of the Rings. One of the last shots we get is of Brienne, Podrick, and Jorah standing in front of what I'm assuming is a bunch of the Knights of the Vale, based on this shield right here, which has the house sigil of House Aaron. So yeah guys, I probably missed a lot. If I missed anything that you saw, comment below. Of course, I'm really excited, and I know you guys are really excited about this season too. Thank you for watching, and peace out.